Okay, for this next part, we're going to do an adjustment layer and curves. And what we're going to do is we're going to clip this curves adjustment just to the photo below. While I'm at it, I'm going to turn off that background layer. So now that this is here, I'm going to go ahead and just click auto. What that does is kind of tones it down just a little bit, makes it a little bit darker. Nothing hugely dramatic. And then I'll close that piece. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to do a few more filters and we're going to make some adjustments to the rest of this. So with this next piece, what we're going to do first, though, is I'm going to go ahead and take both. I'm going to click on this top layer. I'm going to hold down the shift key and click on this layer below. And at the bottom, there is a folder. That folder is going to let me group this together. I'm going to call this subject. And then I'm going to make a new blank layer. I'm going to move it underneath the subject, not in the folder. Be careful with that. You want to put it underneath. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the eyedropper and I'm going to grab this darker version of his shorts so I can at least select part of it. And I'm going to make this even darker. I'm going to click OK. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the Alt or the Option key on the keyboard. And I'm going to press backspace. What that does is that fills the entire background with that color. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new layer above this. I'm going to come over here to the color, and I'm going to move this color up so it's a lighter version. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a circle around him. So I'm going to come over here to the tools. I'm going to choose the elliptical marquee tool. I'm going to come over here somewhere around the K, and I'm going to start to drag. But as I'm dragging, I'm going to press the Alt key, and I'm going to press the Shift key. And what that will do is that will make this perfectly circular. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this up here, right about where his hairline is. You can kind of see like right up there. What I'm trying to do is get this to be the circle kind of surrounding him, like right about there. Now I'm going to press Alt or Option backspace, and it fills with that color. Now I'm going to press Control D or Command D on the Mac, and what that's going to let me do is deselect. And now I'm going to put those two pieces in a folder. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key, select both of those, new folder. I'm just going to call this background. All right, excellent. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to come up to the subject layer to make that active, and I'm going to turn off the background layer for a moment. So the only thing that should be on is this picture of LeBron James. I'm going to do a keyboard shortcut. It's going to be Control, Alt, Shift, or Command, Option, Shift. And then we're going to do E as in Edward. And what that does is that takes the subject and merges it all together. So that's going to allow me to make some adjustments and stuff on here, because usually I would just make that a smart object, but it's the filter that we're going to use will not work on a smart object. So I want to make sure that we get this set up correctly. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to go through and turn off the subject layer, and we're going to go to Filter, Stylize, and Diffuse. I'm going to give this a moment because it's a little processor intensive. So running it through the Cameo piece is going to be a little bit slow. So I want to make sure you're able to see it. And I'm going to drag to where I can see his face and his beard. That's where I noticed the most change was right there. See, when you hold your mouse button down on this preview, it's showing you what it was before, and you let go, and then it shows you the after. So I'm kind of liking what's happening kind of running through here in the beard. It's similar to the oil filter effect, but like I said, this isn't going to be exactly the same. You want to make sure that it's on this anisotropic one as opposed to any of these other ones. These other ones aren't really doing the effect that I'm looking for. So I found this one was kind of cool looking. So I'm going to go ahead and do OK. Now, one of the things that's going to happen here is this will run a little bit slow. So you're going to need to be patient when you work with this one. What we're going to do is that just diffused it a little bit. Now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the image so we can start to spread those lines out a little bit more. So I'm going to come over here to image rotation, and I'm going to do 90 degrees clockwise. And then I'm going to run the filter again. So I'm going to go to Stylize, Diffuse, and I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to repeat that same pattern. It's taking a minute, though, because it's got a lot of pixels in there that it's working with. So then I'm going to go to Image, Image Rotation, again. So this is like spreading the brush and having it blend in multiple directions. So from there, I'm going to go to Stylize, Diffuse. I'm going to go ahead and click Enter on the keyboard or click OK. I'm going to wait for that to render. And then I'm going to do this one more time. Image, Image Rotation, 90 degrees clockwise. Actually, two more times now I'm thinking about it. Filter, Stylize, Diffuse. We'll zoom in a little bit and I'll show you what's actually happening. But just for sake of speed, I just want to go through it really quick. All right, and let's rotate it one more time. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. So you can start to see it's starting to get this kind of painted look, especially around the beard, along here, in the tattoos. We're starting to get this kind of curve. Let's go ahead and run the diffuse one more time and see what it does. Let's see if this helps at all or if I want to undo. Let's do not emboss. I don't want that. I want Stylize and Diffuse. Let's click OK. Let's give that a minute and see if that pulls a little bit more of the texture around. A little bit. Nothing, not too much. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to convert this to a smart object and we're going to apply a couple more things to it. So I'm going to right click, convert to smart objects. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to tighten up the edges around the outside of this. So the way that we're going to do this is you're going to control click or command click on the thumbnail. That'll make a selection of the whole thing. We're going to go to select, modify, and we're going to contract, meaning it's going to shrink in. We're going to do it by 1 pixel. And then once that's shrunk in, we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to go to select or something similar. We're going to go to select. And we're going to go to modify and we're going to do smooth. And we're going to smooth it by about 5 pixels. And then we'll click OK. What this is going to do is it's going to sharpen up the outside edge a little bit. We're going to put a mask on here. So that just sharpened up the corners of the edge here. We can kind of take a look and see if I hold down the shift key and click on the mask. See how it's got those extra little lines, the extra pixels and stuff on the outside. This is just smoothing off the edges a little bit. So by expanding it or by contracting it, you shrunk into the photo by 1 pixel, and then smoothing it out just kind of rounded off those edges a little bit. All right, now in the next video, I'm going to show you how to finish this part up with the texture effect, and then we'll add some text to it, and you will be done.